We're in Paris for what has to be the defining match in England's defence of the Rugby World Cup. Defeat tonight by South Africa, the road to another final gets really tough. A win, suddenly anything is possible. You're in good hands. Your commentators here at the Stade de France, Stuart Barnes and Miles Harrison.
Yes, Jim, by and large, the personnel are different to 4 years ago, but this England team has to play like world champions tonight. There is no other option. Given the stage, given the strength of the opposition, the weight of support both here and back home.
Brain, brawns and the determination of world champions are required because South Africa believe they are good enough to make tonight's game one between the last and the next World Cup winners.
As Martin Johnson said, it's England's biggest game since that unforgettable triumph in Sydney. The showpiece occasions in the pool stages of the tournament. The kind of night that causes all the other teams to down tools, stop their preparation to see exactly what happens between these two giants of the game. England against South Africa, a World Cup rerun from the last two competitions. It stands at one apiece. And we are about to find out who is victorious on this day in World Cup history. The streets of Paris full of supporters wearing the white of England and South African green. It's the men in these shirts now who matter, the anthems. South Africa, the settled 15, but forced into 2 changes. Jean de Villiers has gone home with injury. François Steyn is his free spirit deputy. Skulkberger out for 2 matches. After that ugly challenge on Sunday, Wikus van Heerden replaces him. The selection change is at prop, where BJ Botha is preferred to CJ van der Linde. Alongside Big Oz Durant. The side chosen by Jake White and alongside Eddie Jones. The England team, no Wilkinson, no Barkley, so it's Mike Catt, 36 next week, and alongside Andy Farrell, still looking to prove himself in this code. The chop post-America fell on Cueto, Worsley and Delalio, and Captain Vickery is suspended. Joel Jutge is our referee. England coach Brian Ashton says there is a different mood in the camp, one that has not been there since January, and how there needs to be. Make no mistake, England on current form could face an evening of torment. But the team promise has always been that it will come right here. Now is that hour, and it will be Andy Farrell to kick off. So important for England that Farrell and Catt work as a combination at 10 and 12. Fly half and inside centre. Effective start from the Springbok pack. And their scrum half, Fourie gets it out to François Steyn, the 20-year-old. Jason Robinson back at fullback. And that's a pretty good punt from Robinson. He's really learned that art, hasn't he, all these years now with Union.
Well, he's going to do a lot of kicking today because South Africa will punt. Sensible play there to give young François Steyn an early touch. A big boot there. But it's so important for England today to make sure that the likes of Bakkies Botha are on the back foot. Farrell and Catt playing left and right have to make sure England stay in the right area, and they cannot give early penalties away. Ben Kay offside there, and it just gives Percy Montgomery a chance to get in the game. If England are going to win, we've talked about Steyn, we've talked about pressure on Butch James, but this man Percy Montgomery, he saunters through games when he's not under pressure. He needs to be bombarded, he needs to be tested along with JP Pietersen. And what a battle in the line-out as well, because John Smith must not be allowed easy access to Vic Matfield. There you can see Matfield rising, Kay over eager, soft penalty.
Smith, the South African skipper, has thrown again. Unchallenged is Bakkies Botha. Dropped though by Smith, that's a knock-on, and that is relief for England. Corrie moves in with the applause for the referee. Applause perhaps born of relief.
Sloppy there from South Africa, because it was a good clean ball to Bakkies Botha. Going to the front where they often go to drive. Elementary error. Now Sean Perry, will he master his pack? Will his kicking game be good enough? England will have to kick a lot. Don't expect them to play too much rugby from deep. Perry's box kicking has to be perfect. He's kicking on this side to Habana, so he mustn't give the man an inch to work in. The chase into must be brilliant.
Perry needs to be that action man that we see so often in Bristol colours. He's buried there in England's heavy machinery. Tries to rumble a couple of metres forward. Perry now back to his feet. Ready to serve Catt. Back in the role that he used to play when you stopped playing club rugby. Mike Catt, his 4th World Cup, equalling Jason Leonard's record for England.
So I think that's smart from England, putting Catt in the first receiver position there. because Farrell won't have faced this intensity and pressure from a team in his union career, and Brian Ashton knows that it might take him a while to adapt his game. He won't have time with his kicking.
Free kick, a needless one for England to give away at the line out. And Josh Lucic calls the mark. Had to get back there very quickly, wasn't expecting that shotgun approach from the referee. And Lucy now, who won his 50th cap against the United States, but he's not scored in his last 16 tests. So England would love that to change tonight here in Paris. And that's a good strike from him as well. From a good distance, from a difficult angle, but it's interesting here that South Africa want to pick up the pace. Preez. Steyn goes high, goes very high. Robinson is calling, and it's a good call. Perry got out of the way. Heard his fullback coming. Perry again. Farrell, big left boot. And despite all of his experience in rugby league, he will feel grateful for that kick to settle any nerves.
Well, that's good from England there, the ex-league boys. Jason Robinson, not the tallest, but commanding that one, really good. And Perry's delighted. And we've seen Cat on one side with the right boot. A good kick from Farrell, a really good kick from Andy Farrell. Now England need to press Smith again and really challenge this line-out where South Africa demolished Samoa Sunday.
Once more, the Springboks accurate at the line-out. Smith, knowing there's no higher place in South African rugby history than a World Cup winning captain. JP Pietersen away from the first tackle of Perry. Saki does make the tackle, but Fourie arrives! And that tap tackle from Robinson was absolutely crucial, but it's not over. It's the first try. It's Juan Smith, and 4 years on, this is a revenge mission for the Springboks. They do not forget. And that was a sparky start down this touchline. England missed their tackles and they pay a heavy price.
Afraid Sean Perry's the guilty party. 4 metres to work in. Pietersen dances past the scrum half. Good break there, and I'm afraid Robinson has to make the big hit. He checks Preez, but not enough, and that is ideal work from Juan Smith, a world-class flanker in ideal position. But they only had 4 metres to work in, and they worked it brilliantly. Perry with the first tackle. Robinson had to make a defining hit on Preez. They didn't, and then the support flowed. It's weak defence, but it's superb support from the Springboks. It is the nightmare start for England.
And it's just got even worse because Percy Montgomery has landed the conversion to make it England 0, South Africa 7.
Just watch Perry, he has to make that tackle. Lovely sinuous running though from Pietersen. Saki makes the hit. Now Robinson can't really stop his man, and it enables Preez to get back to his feet as Juan Smith gallops in. England needed to stem the tide of confidence, but the Boks have the start. Luckily for England, the Boks then make a bad error.
Having just scored, they open the door a little bit to England with that knock forward from Danie Rossouw. Rugged number 8, who's played lock and in all back row positions for South Africa.
Just thinking Miles, line out from 55 metres, and South Africa went and scored. England, you wouldn't say this is the most incisive cutting English backline ever, so they must come away from attacking positions with points. They don't have to be tries at the moment, they'd be a bonus, but they have to keep the scoreboard ticking, because we saw the ease with which this lightning fast Springbok team can strike. So England, a grinding points machine, need to come away with something just about every time. They have a position, this is a position.
Ben Kay, like Rossouw, a rugged player.
Keep you tight, please. Thank you.
Craggy cliff of the second row is Nikkei, and England need that man, World Cup winner in Sydney, to be at his very best tonight. And the delay on the put-in, as England just couldn't get themselves sorted at the scrum, leads to a free kick to South Africa and a chance to relieve the pressure that might well have come from that attacking position. Robinson hasn't found touch. And Farrell, part of that England tackling in midfield. Such a feature of Farrell's game. Steyn can't locate Durant, but Habana's got it, and Habana nearly through. Bryan Habana. Once again, we see that electrifying pace. Quick ball for Preez. Steyn saw a line there through the middle. England try and get hands on it, and they do. Wikus was fighting hard there. Had to.
What a surge of electricity from the Springboks.
And Farrell kicks again, and this time England do get the safety of touch. And Will Greenwood is on the touchline.
You can just occasionally be a little bit over-enthusiastic for the first try, just up the short side, right in front of us on the touchline. Sean Perry wanted to get a hit on his opposite man, steps in, that frees up JP Pietersen, and 15 seconds later they're under the post and 7-0 down.
And the threat there too of Habana was clear to see. So if South Africa go wide, England beware. They know that already.
Fourie though is tapping and kicking really quickly, and he's breaking the field up. He is a threat. The scrum half is dictating the pace. England have got to get their hands on the top 9.
Injured his shoulder in the Super 14 final. That victory for the Bulls in South Africa over the Sharks. But Preez is coming back. He's getting the game time that he needs. And as we were saying at the Parc des Princes on Sunday, he is a potential star of this World Cup. And his captain, John Smith, points to the post, and this is interesting because having François Steyn in the side gives South Africa a potential long-range kicking option. Although we were watching Steyn in practice, struggling a little bit from near halfway, but with this kick, as you can see, is much closer to the England 10-metre line. This is within his range.
He's had a good start as well. He's got his hands on the ball. He's made a half break. He's kicking well. And this is not a pressure kick. If he misses it, there's no great acrimony. If he gets it 10-0 after 10 minutes, it is a dream start for South Africa. And that is a beautiful strike.
The confidence of youth. In this situation, on this stage, François Steyn still manages a smile. And so he should after that kick.
Cheeky grin of class there. Here's the try. Preez, you see, so alert, and Smith sprinting through. England have leaked points at a point a minute against South Africa. Jake White and Eddie Jones up. This is a galvanised start that England dreaded, that the box wanted. Now it's so hard for England.
Jaque Fourie gets into the match, the other centre for South Africa. Montgomery wins his 89th cap tonight, equals the country record held by Joos van der Westhuizen. And Percy Montgomery will go past that then at this World Cup. Nick Easter thought about the quick one, but the Harlequins number 8 decided against it.
It's early days, but England's strategy almost in tatters already, because they wanted to contain South Africa, play territory and build a lead. That has been torn away. The foundations have gone, as England now are trying high risk, crazy line-outs and just turning over ball. They look tentative.
Goes badly wrong there at the line-out from Regan. See what he was trying to do, but as you say, Stuart, perhaps not the situation to do it just yet. England starting to show to South Africa that they've got the hand or the finger over the panic button.
Yeah, I just think Martin Johnson in the studio, if he'd have liked his hooker in the World Cup against South Africa, early stages, 10 minutes in, trying a little underarm. Is it a sign perhaps that the South African line-out's putting Regan under pressure, and he hasn't quite been the force that he was in the summer. Question marks at the moment, and it's England who are worrying. Can't find the answers. The box looks sharp.
Trying to put Tom Rees down that line. Regan, who's got hurt in the process of that move. Man who made his debut against South Africa back in 1995, retired from international rugby after the last World Cup, ruled himself out of selection. Despite his club form, he wasn't being considered then, but he's back in the picture now. It's in fact now 6 in a row in an England shirt for Regan. Here's Preez. Well, that one doesn't work for the Springboks. And Saki might get a boot in here and does. Down the middle goes Cat. Robinson is flying too. Pietersen doesn't take it initially. That might count against him. Seconds valuable there.
Paul Saki seemed to be taken slightly late there, I felt.
Dupree kicks. Saki's got himself back, but so too has number 8 Easter. And he pushes Montgomery to the floor there. Sheridan try and clear this one out and does. Saki. England needing to get themselves back into this match quickly. Sheridan again is the clear-out man.
Stephens goes into heavy traffic, just needs to be perhaps one out. It's still slow for Perry.
Now this is where England have lacked the ideas of late.
Well, they lack quick ball, and without quick ball, all they're going to do is just take it up. Martin Corrie always plays this ploy, and you know that's going nowhere at the moment against a powerful Bok defence. But at least it is control of possession for a while.
Cat's going for the drop goal to get something on the board, but he's wide with that. Juge was perfectly positioned as Mike Cat tries to do a Yanni de Beer on this ground, of course, 8 years ago when he kicked drop goal England out of the Rugby World Cup. But as you can see, exactly the right call from the referee Juge.
Sat in the press box about 5 yards from where I am that day, amazed by Yanni de Beer. England might need to go for drop goals themselves because South Africa seem to have the cutting edge at the moment. An ominous start if you're an English fan.
Well, Butch James is claiming it's gone out on the full, and the officials agree. Calvin Deeger of New Zealand, the touch judge on this near side.
Butch James trying to rub salt into the wounds by stealing 10 metres there.
Wonder what Martin Johnson is thinking in the studio. Martin.
We desperately need to score some points next. We've had the worst possible start. I think we've been penalised 4 times. We conceded a try. We got very tight on the blindside defence. We then let the guy get up off the floor and make the pass. The first time we put pressure on them, Seki gets his boot on the ball, we get into their half. So we just need to get pressure on them. We seem to be tentative, and we're watching them play.
You can see there, Butch James actually does have his foot in touch. And he is out. Just wondered there as well, you know, South Africa almost allowed England back into the game by over-elaborating. Were they a little bit confident too early? Will they tighten up now? Matfield loses that one.
He caught the order, but he didn't get the ball, and it has been lost forward.
It's one of the old cliches in sports, you can almost have too good a start. I don't know if that is the case with South Africa. Maybe it's an English way of clutching at straws, but you know, 10-0 after 10 minutes was an absolutely calamitous start for the game, because England, so short of confidence, needed to do all they could to knock the South Africans and build their own. That was the plan, but all that's happened now is South Africa believe England are there for the beating. They've won 3 of their last 4 occasions against them, and they look really confident in their ability to do it in Paris again.
And there is a determination in South African rugby. We've seen their World Cup record get gradually worse from winners the first time they played in the competition to semi-finalists and then quarter-finalists. This is the year they feel that they can mount a very serious challenge against tournament favourite New Zealand. Host nation France, who of course had that stuttering start. Very evenly matched, the 2 packs in terms of their weight. Of course, it's how that weight is used, the technique. And François made a very interesting point about Andrew Sheridan propping against BJ Botha, and how South Africa, having found out the England team, they waited for the announcement. It was always Jake White's intention to do that. Made that selection call. Botha, not van der Linde. But England do get a penalty. So that's one for the front row, and they're squaring up on halfway well after the whistle has gone.
Very interesting, the England lineup from that scrum. You can see Andy Farrell is standing at centre, but he's got a left foot, and naturally he would be on the near side, and Cat's right foot would be sending the big diagonal across field. Cat at the moment in attack is playing purely as a fly half, as that penalty misses touch.
South Africa get it out of the outside of Fourie to Preez boot, but it's not as good a gain in terms of territory for England as they would have been hoping. It is the sin to miss touch from the penalty because, of course, the resultant line-out belongs to the team kicking 2-touch in that scenario, regardless of where they are on the field. Because it's been a penalty, they would throw into the line-out. Anyway, England will still throw in because South Africa got the ball off the field. Here's Mark Regan. Better line-out. Shaw, Perry, Cat, in that challenging way of his, takes the ball right up to the gain line. Mark Regan.
Challenged by Butch James, though. South Africa strong on the gain line. England must be patient and keep ball and find some pace at some time. But again, as against the USA, they're struggling to generate.
Butch James famous for putting out the clothesline, and there he is, onto Habana, and quickly England onto him. Jamie Noon, that's a very good tackle. England centre with shoulders like granite, Jamie Noon, and he'll make tackles like that all night for his side. Needs to be in the right positions to make them, though. Was there, and Steyn kicks with that heavy boot of his, but it does give Robinson time to counter, and this is what Robinson loves. It's what England love him to do as well. He's up over halfway. Now, can England get that quick ball? They do. Perry out to Farrell. A little bit indecisive there, Andy Farrell was thinking about the kick, but he used his strength well and carried well. Again over halfway. Perry, Cat, Saki, maybe a little bit of space on the outside. Poor Saki. England have a weapon in Saki, and they must try and use him. Scramble, desperate scramble on the floor for the ball. Both sides think they can win it.
Turnover, South Africa so fast on the floor. England struggled against the USA because Rees got there very quickly but didn't have the numbers backing him up. And again, South Africa with superior weight have done an excellent job there. Bakkies, Botha was heavily involved. Juan, Smith, and England just can't afford to be turned over. There's Farrell through Botha first of all. Smith all over the place making the tackle. And then again, South Africa tackling strong. Rees and Shaw losing control of the ball, and Habana, he thinks anything's possible, tackled by Noon there.
Matt Stevens, England's only tight head in the 22. Phil Vickery suspended for a couple of matches following his trip, blatant trip, on Paul Emmerich of the United States. Interesting defence, wasn't it? It was an instinctive act. Well, okay, it was instinctive, but it's still deliberate.
I don't think, to be honest, Phil Vickery's in the greatest form of his life, and I don't think England lose anything, and perhaps if he wasn't captain, Stevens would start. Obviously the Wilkinson-Barkley thing hurts England, but there again, Schalkberger, immense against Samoa, is a massive blow for South Africa.
Unsteady there, the South African scrum, and it leads to another minor flashpoint, and it keeps going, and the referee feels the need to step in this time. So too touch judge Dika. Let's go to François in the studio.
Andrew Sherrington has been scrumming very well. I thought BJ Botha coming in against Sherrington, being smaller than him, would get under him, but Sherrington is standing his ground, and already BJ Botha has given away a penalty. It's a crucial part of the game.
And England turn that one over at the scrum. Gets better in that department, and then Perry will be disgusted with himself there. Tried to play for the corner and got far too much on it. And that's where we need to see Shaun Perry, from an England perspective, show the kind of composure that he does week in, week out at club level.
But this, of course, 80,000 major World Cup occasion, and also a South African team that look very near the top of the tree in the world pecking order. Massive challenge, and England have got to give him the right ball.
Pulled down by Shaw. Kay's waiting in midfield. Here he goes, Ben Kay. That long arm comes out. Perry seems to be looking for more big men. He is. Don't come much bigger than Sheridan. Cat to Robinson. Saki still waits. It's Mark Regan who takes one for the team there. Perry again, round on the loop. Now it's starting to slow down. Jaque. Such a well-organised defence this for South Africa. In at the side, go England, penalty.
Well, South Africa at the moment are able to slow England down, and some of those passes to Paul Jaque, it's 1-on-2. But look at Preez again, he knows it's on, that's a brilliant kick.
And England need to get back very quickly here. It is a brilliant kick. It's Fourie, oh, he's dropped it. How important could that prove to be? Well, Jutge is going to check it, but
he dropped it.
He clearly dropped that ball, and it will not be a try. Worth checking in the heat of the battle, and with the stakes so high. Josh Lucy's got back to make a very important tackle again for England. He's done that many times before. He was famously at Twickenham in the autumn, but Fourie well short of the line, and Robinson, with a great sigh of relief, puts the ball down.
What brilliant reading of the game, though, from the scrum half as well. The bad news, of course, for England is it's a knock-on short of the line, so England are going to have a 5-metre scrum. They're put in, but pressure coming on. Fourie knows he hasn't scored that. But just another example of how quick-thinking Fourie de Preez and those South Africans are at the moment. Spatially, they're very aware, they're very confident, they're prepared to just change the point of the game. He's like a kaleidoscope, he just breaks it up.
England pack needs to go again here, having just got one against the head. They just need to secure their own ball and find a way out of this hole to keep the score at 10-0.
It's all very adagio when England have the ball, and suddenly the box, bang, they snap into life, and it's so fast and pacey. And it's so much harder to defend against a team whose wits are so quick and they've got pace all over the park.
Did you mention Delagio?
Delalio Adagio, he was against the USA.
We all thought Lawrence Delalio was being primed for this match, didn't we?
It's an interesting call. Surely he'd have been better against South Africa than USA. Now, free kick, so Sean Perry can't go into touch, and Martin Corrie composes things and says to Mike Catt, find your touch. At the moment it's the right call, but at some stage England themselves are going to have to accelerate this game. Not from a metre from their own line yet, though. Sheridan working very hard there. South Africa brought in a smaller man, BJ Botha, because Sheridan sometimes struggles there, and you can see England have the nudge. South Africa will probably say delayed put-in, as it always is. Bill Beaumont looking on, liked to shove in the scrum, didn't he?
Certainly in 1980, when he was England's famous Grand Slam winning captain all those years ago. Grand Slams, think of the past for England in recent times. World Cups haven't been, but their chance to defend the title, their chance to prove to the world that all along they've been readying themselves for this. Didn't look that way against the United States, and so far trailing in this clash of the heavyweights in this pool by 10 points. Down goes Simon Shaw, tries to roll his man. Bakkies Botha, but Botha's done well.
Get up, Shawsey! Shawsey, go! Shawsey, stay!
Preez again. Oh, that'll test Jaque. And the referee in perfect position to adjudge the knock-on. And Fourie de Preez is having an excellent night with all of his skills.
Well, it's a brilliant kick. We're seeing here the chase. Paul Jaque loses it. JP Pietersen has helped make the kick from a good one into an excellent one because of the chase, but de Preez landed it just outside the 22. Jaque doesn't have the safety, the refuge of a mark. Nothing he can do. The scrum half just throwing up carrots for his men to chase, and aren't they chasing well? Jay White said to us in training last week, de Preez wouldn't mind being the player of the tournament. He thinks it's in him. He's not going to be the flashiest, but he could be the most influential. If South Africa go all the way, he's going to be right up there. And right now, England have got to stop him. He's dominating this game.
Like so many of these World Cup matches so far, taking their toll. When it matters so much, the physicality of the game seems to go up a notch or two. And you think that's not possible on a weekly basis. It has come World Cup time. England crowd try and lift their team. And boy, do they need that lift now. Bakkies Botha. Inside ball, had no support outside. Back it goes for Montgomery with one of his long-range efforts, but that not one of his best.
You can't resist those long-range drop goal attempts, Percy Montgomery. More often than not from 45 metres he makes a hash like that. Horrible hook. South Africa probably could have done a little bit better with that, but they decided to go for the percentages. They got the fly-in start with the try. Now they are thinking 10-0 up, we get another drop goal, a penalty. 13-0, long way England.
Montgomery along with Durant, survivor from the 99 game. Here he is again, Percy Montgomery. We've even seen him try drop goals from there, but normally on the high belt. Oh, it's taken by Habana.
Great kick, great chase.
Bits and pieces all coming together for South Africa. And when pieced together, it's looking like an attractive jigsaw from their point of view. Disposed of Samoa and in control here against England. Matfield. Left by BJ Botha. Didn't feel he quite had the distance to start a drive there at the heart of England's defence at the ruck on the fringe. South Africa looking to come from depth. Preez, Steyn, another drop goal. Just wide. Both sides trying it at every available opportunity. Must be something about this ground.
Something about the ground and something about the occasion. England desperate for any points. The Boks want to build that lead. A good idea from Steyn. From England's perspective, that's a let-off. That's come off the outside of his boot because this kid has the deadliest of drop goals. And there's a youngster who really can play as well. The blonde head of Schalkberger. He'll be back if South Africa make the knockouts, and who would bet against that?
Yes, his original ban of 4 matches, which seemed way over the top, has been reduced to 2. Montgomery, another high hanging ball on the England back 3. It's Robinson again who is up to the task, and he's off again. And if ever Billy had to whiz, it's today. Good run from Robinson. Perry out quickly to Cap. Farrell. Right option. Noon is chasing. Can't quite get there. England back into things.
Yeah, inspiration from Jason Robinson at fullback there. Made the mark and then was quicker than a flash. Faster than you could say Jason Robinson, he's gone. Habana's behind him, he can't get there. Durant, that is what you call a mismatch. And then Andy Farrell knows nothing's on when Robinson is tackled. He plays the percentages, probes into the corner, perhaps should have stayed in field, but England can at least put pressure on the Boks in good territory.
England need to challenge this line out, but again it's good from Bakkies Botha. Second row play to be admired, and also from Smith, who comes round there, the captain throwing in. Perfect lines of communication. Excellent delivery too. Poor Saki. JP Pietersen waits, Saki gets away from him, and also Juan Smith. Saki tries to do a Robinson. Perry. His opposite number, Preez. Simon Shaw is doing his best to put some pressure there on Butch James. Out it goes to Montgomery, who's only got one thought there, and that's to go long. And he's gone very long.
Intelligent kicking game there as Montgomery wins that one. Sean Perry, you know, dabbed that one over the top. and on the blind side he had Simon Shaw a second row and Mark Regan a front row forward, and that meant the chase was impossible. There was no pace on it. South Africa were able to work it in field, use the big boot of Montgomery. England not intelligent in their kicking game there, and it opened it up for Percy Montgomery, and if England don't get to Montgomery, he'll just drive them back 40 metres all day. South Africa's weak links are at the moment not being exposed by England, or potential weak links I should say, not at the moment.
Regan again, Perry, and he's trying to bring the ball away with Tom Rees. Haven't seen too much of Tom Rees, certainly as an attacking force yet, the England open side. He's been working hard, and then Farrell is charged down by James, and Robinson is grateful for the break on the ball there. Butch James always in the face of the opposition.
Right, we said when Farrell was named that he would be charged down at some stage. Juan Smith or Butch James way too slow on the levers there. Just hasn't played enough top-class rugby there. He gave James every chance there. And the box, even when they're not on form, will resolutely chase down everything. When they're playing well and they get the sniff, watch out.
Farrell's long drop out. Steyn. Constant tactic. Robinson refusing to crack. That's one got lost by Robinson. At least it went backwards. Wasn't his most convincing that time, though. Maybe just signs.
It's like Argentina here a week ago, though. Simple high balls putting pressure on England. It's not pretty, but this is Test match rugby, and it's very effective. It's driving England back easily.
Cat there with long levers on that kick. Feared another charge down. Flag is up on that far side, and South Africa will be throwing into the line out. Habana leaving that one to hit the ground first.
Phil Vickery, Lawrence Dallaglio looking on. Both World Cup winners, of course, both European Cup winners with the Wasps. Not used to losing in club colours, getting used to it in international, though. And South Africa still surge forward comfortably.
Vickers van Heerden, Habana's after this one. These high balls raining down on England. Robinson comes through again.
Still advantage. Still advantage.
Referee playing advantage here. Perry. Healthy thump, the sound there. Ball on boot from Cat. Advantage over. As James has put that right in behind Saki. That's a classy kick.
JP Pietersen chasing, was never going to get there, but that's brilliant from Butch James. England losing out on the kicking game. We talked about Preez's accuracy and his vision. Butch James there picked that one up and thumped it in, and don't the box enjoy that one. Good vision from the fly half, and England under pressure.
The South African management exuding confidence in their body language. Eddie Jones, of course, working alongside Jake White. Jones looking to get a victory over England in the World Cup this time, having failed in the final in 2003 in Australia. And there's no doubt that South Africa feel they've got a gem in Jones in what he's added technically. A little bit of tweaking. England going to the tail. Nearly went to Bakkies Botha.
Fingertip there. It's advantage for knock on.
Cat fears another charge down. Does well to get out of that tight spot, but it's back to Montgomery, who just can't resist these. And he's wide again.
As a kid, you know, Percy Montgomery was always dipping his hand into the bag of sweets. Irresistible. That's a better strike. But a player of his calibre with that time on this surface, maybe it should have been 13-0. And again, hurried kick from England. They're being driven backwards. South Africa's basic kicking game is very good, and the press is on.
I haven't heard of Sherbet drop goals, but Percy Montgomery has a taste for them. So too Farrell, if he gets a chance. But here he's dropping again, and I have to say there that 4 or 5 England players were in front of the kicker, moved into an offside position, leaving the 22, but no matter, no time to dwell on that, because South Africa know exactly what they want to do. Butch James knows exactly what he wants to do, and England are being driven back, and at the moment need the safety of half-time.
Butch James is in great control now alongside his mate Fourie. Those two are controlling. England keep knocking out these long 22s and they're not putting the press on, and South Africa are able to just drive them 70 metres back. England always playing at the moment in their own 22, 30-metre area. It's back foot stuff.
Kay comes forward. Farrell's a long way back here. South Africa, although in the starting blocks, ready to go. England's dilly-dallying there, and they've been penalised. Matt Stevens looks mystified.
You are in front of the ball, and you are offside, and with your shoulder, okay?
Not the first time we've seen a penalty for being offside in front of the ball. Samoa were furious because their try disallowed against South Africa was for that. And there you can see Fourie coming in from behind the back feet. He's onside, and I'm afraid Matt Stevens isn't, and Joel's is quite right, and this is a soft penalty, but you would say South Africa's territorial control and their tactical nows probably has earned them a 13-0 lead, although this is not an easy kick for Montgomery.
Hindmost player draws the offside line. Montgomery draws 3 points at the bank for South Africa just before half-time. It gives them a healthy lead now of 13 points to nothing. Will Greenwood on the touchline again. Will.
Yeah, just at ground level. Just looking at the body languages of both teams. South Africa, dynamic at the moment, tend to be winning the contact, which means they're on the front foot. Stuart, exactly right. England kicking on the back foot, meaning it's kicking down the throats of the South African back three. And at the moment, we just need to find some sort of spark, more Jason Robinson, and some more dynamic running, because at this stage, South Africa seem to hold the cards.
Indeed they do, as Farrell looks for the chasing Tom Rees. But the ball is back with South Africa. It seems to be with them exclusively. And away again from Butch James. Can England conjure something from this position as we approach the interval?
Miles, as we see Butch James kicking in touch, I just want to go back to Will. Maybe I should be asking Jono, but how demoralising is the way Preez and James's kicking game is driving England backwards, Will? I mean, obviously you're a back, but always England are playing from deep.
South African forwards step forward and take a bow, because it's their work at the breakdown of the physicality of the contact area that's allowing Preez to sit in this chariot. He's been brilliant all half. He bought that penalty off Matt Stevens, and Butch James is just coasting around, picking up the loose bits and finding space with his kick, but it's all down to the South African physicality at the moment.
Farrell, as England look to get that sweet chariot moving. It's more like a South African juggernaut in this first half. Could have been worse, the scoreline. Cat that inside ball. Normally like to go up those alleys himself, Mike Cat, but there simply isn't the space. Not on this field. Turnover. Durant. Not the best pass though. Oh, Farrell's nearly got in. Oh, but now he's lost it. England in deep trouble here. Big trouble. Fourie. Pietersen is the extra man. Time the pass, and it's another try. It is. The South African celebrations begin. And if South Africa looked strong before the game, they look even stronger now.
Well, JP Pietersen scores it, but once again, Will was talking about Fourie sitting back in the shotgun of his sweet chariot. He gets a lucky break this time because Farrell goes for it, scoops it up. What pace from the big Praetorian. He draws his man, immaculate timing. JP Pietersen saunters in, but it's the scrum half. The good ball, bad ball, it's all alike to him. He's running this game, but again, it's South African turnover turnover is the deadliest ball, and England, they think they've got a sniff of something. It turns out all they've got a sniff of now, as Fourie takes it away, is ignominy. England at half-time are on the brink of defeat. Brilliant stuff from the South African scrum half. The men in white, the world champions, are on the ropes.
And Montgomery is really making the tries count with another conversion, another 2 points. Fourie, masterful there, the way he covered the ground, the way he didn't panic, the way he committed the final man to make it as easy as they come for JP Pietersen. And it is the South African supporters who sit pretty now, watching their side lead by what is a mammoth score between these two at this stage. Maybe not in the summer when England went with not their first choice side, but this, a World Cup environment, and that England will know is almost game over. Can these men that we're looking at say the right words to turn it around at half-time? What would you say?
All I'd say from the commentary box is England are being out-muscled physically, and the decision-making of South Africa is good, the kicking is good. England are on the ropes. Ashton has got a lot of work to do.
Half-time in Paris then, as two major forces in world rugby collide, but only one major force really on show tonight so far. South Africa leads 20-0.
Need a right old rumble in the second half. Jason Robinson's played exceptionally well in the first. England starting 20 points down. Back to your commentators, to Stuart Barnes and to Miles Harrison.
Thanks, Jim. Well, South Africans love nothing more than to have England on the ropes. And you know what? They'll be eyeing up a bonus point in a very South African way.
Well, against Samoa in the second half, they really put the foot on the pedal and went strong. Interesting, isn't it? The one substitution, Perry gone Gomersal, it almost indicates how much problem England have in not just positioning at scrum half, but controlling that breakdown. I'm surprised Lewis Moody hasn't come on. There is an injection of pace desperately required, and soon.
The only change then made by either side at half-time, the introduction of Andy Gomersal at scrum half for Sean Perry. Nick Easter there, just caught by a trailing leg, no claim of a trip that time. And there Gomersal gets straight into the game. And Paul Saki with the tactic that South Africa used repeatedly on England in the first half. England try it themselves, but South Africa are safe and sound. And if anything, the star of that first half, Fourie gets the ball out to Butch James and Jason Robinson. Puts down for a 22 dropout.
Butch James did nothing too flash in the first half, but I thought he played a really sensible game. Did what his forwards wanted, put them on the front foot, kept England going backwards. Nothing too flashy, but England 20-0 down will find it very hard with their lack of real incision and penetration to go from 75. So expect Springboks to keep England pegged back. And England still go with the long dropout, even though South Africa have hurt them time and again.
No change from South Africa. And no change really from Robinson, who's done excellently underneath that high ball. One that he couldn't quite get hold of in the first half, but at least it went backwards.
No hands, Green, no hands. It's out.
It was a pretty horrific one to have to take as well.
The ball is touched.
Mike Catt.
Yes, the ball is touched. The ball is touched, yeah.
And that has been touched in flight. So England will throw into the line-out. You can see there Jason Robinson showing the scar, so too Simon Shaw. This giant of a second row with a real sensitive touch, but we haven't seen Shaw in the loose in those areas that England wanted him to play in.
No, England not being able to unload it. There you can see Cat clearing it and the ball just stopping in the air because of that deflection. Yeah, Ashton really wanted his tight five to unload, to stop the ball going into contact, to stop the organised South African defence slowing it down, or even worse, turning it over. But I don't think we've really seen one offload from an England forward. Having said that, they haven't really been in challenging areas to run at South Africa. it's been all box control. It's been simple, but it's been very effective.
It's that lack of platform, and we use that phrase quite regularly, and what we mean by that is, of course, no effective scrum or line out or clearing the ball quickly from when there's a breakdown at the ruck. England just simply haven't had that kind of possession for the half-backs and then the rest of the backs to really find their way into the game, and then to bring the forwards into the attack too, through the middle, on the hoof. But they're put into this scrum, and it is so important for England to get that first score in this second half. There's the great of the game, Gerald Davis, looking on. And of course tomorrow we will see Wales in action against Australia, this big weekend in the Rugby World Cup.
This is a mark. Touch. Touch. Pause. Engage.
Big 40 minutes for England, at the very least. Pride required here.
Gummersall to Cat. Josh Lucy, gamely as ever after this. Habana knew exactly where the touchline was, and therefore exactly when to apply the brakes. He's not just an attacking force, is he?
Well, his balance is absolutely magnificent. Serge Blanco in his time, pretty fantastic balance himself. But Habana, he knows the pressure's coming, dances along the line, a metre to just make himself some space, and then a hook clearance that Fourie would have been proud of. In its own way, that's as impressive as a couple of his tries Sunday. Beautiful, controlled defensive play, and people say, you kick over him, he's a weakness. He's not, he's developed his game.
Not straight.
Not straight at the line out.
Not straight. Green. Scrum.
The scrum option is taken by South Africa. It's nearly always the case. And Victor Matfield alongside Bakkies Botha. They've had a really good night, haven't they, those two? It's Juan Smith challenging Ben K there, but no matter, the ball wasn't straight.
I think England just have to get every line out right. They have to press every scrum. They have to kick well to get in this game. Their percentages must be glorious, and they're not.
Good pick up by Rossouw. Preez again. Habana again. Oh, Robinson, this does go forward. And South Africa pouring through, and Preez was the extra man, and had he got that, was gone for another score. But again, the Springboks sent blood here. Steyn.
What a great kick from Preez again. Should be 16-0. They won't go to the corner. Of that you can be certain. South Africa will want to accumulate.
Worrying here for South Africa, as the penalty is awarded there for hands in the ruck, is that Bryan Habana is on the field, lying on his back, needing some treatment. Now South Africa, the World Cup, will not want to lose this man.
No, any neutrals will just want to see Habana playing. He's such an exceptional player. There don't seem to be too many distress signals there, I don't think. Maybe a few more from the men in white at the moment. Difficult angle from Montgomery again, but he's been immaculate thus far.
As he has been this year. He has had his kicking boots on in 2007, no doubt about that. And this evening he's passed the 800-point mark in international rugby on the night that he equals Gers van der Westhuizen's cap total for his country. So it's all getting very special for Percy Montgomery, but what he really wants is to be holding that World Cup in a few weeks' time. South Africa leading tonight, 23-0 now, and they get the first score of this second period.
Good turnover from England, though. They've got a position now, a rare one.
It's Ben K, who was right in there working hard. Gummersall couldn't get himself away, couldn't free himself from the tackle. The captain, Corrie, goes forward. It's good presentation as well. Gummersall again. Cat, is this it? Can England come back into the match with a score here? Farrell lays it back. Gummersall to Cat, to Robinson. Jason Robinson. If there's one man who can find a way through there in English colours, it's Robinson. Farrell's long pass, Ben Kay, who started all of this, he goes for the boot. And therefore the mark, and possession is conceded.
That will not be the highlights of Ben Kay's career. That was absolutely dreadful. The first time England have really stretched South Africa. What on earth is the lot doing? Jason Robinson takes on BJ Botha. He likes to get against type 5 forwards, try and create a bit of carnage, but nothing comes of it.
This one goes into touch, and we'll tell you about tomorrow. ITV1 is certainly the place to be from 11:30 onwards. Take another look at that Ben Kay failed chip. New Zealand against Portugal as the hors d'oeuvre. And then it's quite a main course in Cardiff. Wales against Australia. What a weekend this is for the World Cup. And you can watch video highlights, remember, of each and every game in the Rugby World Cup at the website itv.com/rugby. And also Ireland taking on Georgia on ITV4 tomorrow evening.
Another great kick from the scrum half, just pinning England back. Paul Saki gives a counter chance to Matfield here.
Dupree. So intelligent, isn't he? He always seems to pick the right option. He is a player right on top of his game. Now he's got back to full fitness.
Well, you know, I thought initially he made a wrong decision, went up a cul-de-sac, but then a little bit of footwork and a lovely little grubber kick, and he righted the situation. And again, nothing flash, but South Africa keeping England pinned. And again, England had a minute or so in the South African 22, came away with absolutely nothing.
England back where they don't want to be, so Gummersall gets it out of there, but here comes another counter. Another up and under from JP Pietersen. And Jason Robinson, well, he'll wake up in the middle of the night still catching high balls. Montgomery. The man with the golden hair is having another golden game.
He hit that one on the outside of his left boot, and it was deliberate. An absolute peach of a kick. Watch this for technique. There you go. He knows exactly what he's doing. That ball is going to break towards touch. Great technique from Montgomery.
Number 5.
When in doubt, Miles, just push the ball back in the England 22 and say, play your way out, you're 23-0 down.
Martin Corrie makes the catch and then calls for the big effort. And Andy Gummersall, just for now, taking the heat away from England, but he's going to come back at them. And where is this first England score coming from, Stuart?
Let's just say it's pretty dark in front of me. I just can't really see it at the moment because South Africa are in total control.
No, we need space.
You know, and England have talked about accuracy and efficiency. You think 2-on-2 and Ben Kay kicked that ball away. That was the best chance they've had. But just don't look confident with the ball in hand. A Jason Robinson counter, a one-on-one. But how can England work that situation? It's desperately difficult to see it because the Boks have such control.
Samoa may have been beaten well and truly by South Africa, 59-7 at the weekend, but they did unlock the South African defence with a lovely try. At the very least, England need to do something. Robinson scurrying on the floor. You can't doubt the side's bravery. As Robinson shows again there, and so too Sheridan with those powerful legs at last getting pumping on the Stade de France turf. Nick Easter. But again, it's back. Gummersall to Cat, and if it's going to touch, we are returning to square one, or maybe square two. But England need to find a ladder, and quickly.
They're caught between the Green Devil and the deep blue sea here, as you see Robinson take that catch, because they don't want to go down under an avalanche of points. But frankly, as you say, by clearing to touch, they're doing nothing because they can't generate pace here. You talked about no shortage of bravery. Physically, yes, but mentally, this England squad have got to find the mental bravery to have the courage to play at pace and to take some risk. They came to this World Cup in a sterile frame, and at the moment they have to be more creative because it's not happening. You can't shut the best teams out.
Well, when the mental bravery was there in the Six Nations this year, the men at standoff were Geraghty and Flood, and they weren't selected, so anyway, South Africa have made a change. Muller has come on for Bakkies Botha, Johan Muller in the second row. Here's Robinson. Oh, it could be a loose pass. Jaque Fourie, Saki will have to try and get back to him here, and did. Just did enough. Good pace from Saki, because Fourie is not slow.
But there's the dilemma. Jason Robinson, the one Englishman who's trying to do something, but he tries to force the odds there, and it almost cost a try. Steyn forces him across, should never give that ball, and it's almost a score there as South Africa keep the heat up.
Treatment for Robinson, who's still struggling with blood, as you can see. We'll go into the studio, and Jono Martin.
I just think it's time we play some cards and got maybe Lewis Moody on the field, even George Shooter, just some dynamism on the field. 23, you know, 23-0. If we can score, you know, 7-10 points, it gives us a little bit of an edge. I mean, we've got nothing to lose now. Just play the cards and get some fresh bodies on there.
Well, one of those cards is there, Lewis Moody.
Yeah, Lewis Moody is coming on, but it's Tom Rees coming off. Now, Tom Rees has had a hard day today, but England have a lack of pace, a lack of dynamism. You just got the 2003 World Cup winning captain say, let's get some pace, let's inject something. And all due respect, Martin's former Leicester teammate, Martin Corrie, is not giving England that. Take a gamble, have Moody on at 6, Rees at 7. That is symptomatic of England's refusal to really gamble, to throw the cards off the bench. No wild card there, like for like.
Matfield again. South Africa again. No! Ball on the floor now. England have given away a penalty here. Regan is trying to clamber over the top, but that looked a little bit desperate. And the referee goes back for the penalty. He says it at the side, but also pulling down the maul as well, and that now explained also by Joël Jutge. Almost a double offence. South Africa will only get 3 points if that's what they choose, and they do.
Well, against Samoa, with this corner, they worked a scrum and broke the Samoans with 7 points here. They're just quite happy to just keep the pressure coming on as England start to lose their discipline.
No, it's fine, it's fine.
Just wonder, perhaps was Tom Rees injured? Otherwise, it just seems a really strange decision to me to take your only flyer off when you're so short of pace.
Montgomery equals points every time. South Africa now lead 26-0. Will Greenwood.
If we continue with the boxing analogy, South Africa have just got us at arm's length at the moment, just jabbing us back. Kicks from Dupree, kicks from James, saying, England, what are you going to do from back there? Are you going to chance your arm? We're trying to. They're forcing us to play from deep to make 50-50 balls. South Africa just happy booting it back and seeing if England have got anything in the locker.
Thanks, Will. England have made another change. Steve Borthwick is on the field, and Simon Shaw has gone off. And in the England second row department, of course, and Andy Gummersall with a quick line out to Jason Robinson. In 8 days' time, England will play Samoa in Nantes. It's going to be a qualification game. And you shudder to think what the reaction will be if the champions fail to win that one and stare in the face the prospect of going out of the Rugby World Cup. But that is for another day. There is still something to be gained from this match, even if England can't win it from here. They have to try and leave Paris with something to show for their efforts tonight. There's a mistake by South Africa. JP Pietersen, he gets a consoling tap from Butch James.
It's a good pass, you know, from John Smith, because he saw a little bit of space. I think Jaque probably had him covered. That was a 26-0 up pass. But you're quite right, they're very important for England. They're not going to win this game now, but they were very low-key and despondent after the abject performances. We see Bryan Habana come off for Ruan Pienaar. His day's work is done. They were despondent after the USA performance because they knew they didn't really produce anything. Today, they are being battered. They need to find a lift going into what could be a very difficult game, because Samoa will watch this and think, without pace, we could scare England, maybe more.
What Samoa did lack against South Africa was a set piece, a scrum or a line-out that worked effectively. But they did offer, as you say, Stuart, something behind the scrum. Now Martin Johnson has got his complete wish here, not just Moody on the field, but also George Shooter replacing Mark Regan at hooker for England. And watch out, by the way, for Ruan Pienaar has come on for South Africa. He falls into the category of super sub. He can do anything, this boy. He's on the wing tonight, but he can play centre. He can play scrum half, which is his prime position. He's the perfect man to have on a bench at a World Cup.
Well, he's a pretty decent fly half as well, very gifted.
Touch, pause, engage.
Easter offloads to Jamie Noon.
Nice offload from Nick Easter. First time we've seen him do that. That's what he was picked for.
Here's Farrell and Robinson.
Hamstring's gone.
Jason Robinson could be saying goodbye to the World Cup here and to rugby in general. Retiring at the end of the competition. Clear hamstring for Robinson.
Stay back, Green.
And both sides aware of that. They've not sort of piled in. Oh, he's going to get hurt a little bit now with the drive forward.
He's injured.
Yeah, referee has to step in there. Robinson in trouble, and this will be a sad end.
It will. I mean, it's not been a perfect performance, but he's played manfully. He's been England's brightest spark, and he's had the courage to take it to South Africa. But you saw him running there, trying to inject some pace, and just watch him just pull up now. Out. That's a hamstring. You can see him go straight to the left hamstring, lower part there.
Like the Olympic sprinter there, Robinson, that he has so often been on a rugby field, or a rugby version of which. Robinson gets a great round of applause. It's a standing ovation. South African and English supporters alike get to their feet for Jason Robinson. He's been a true great in two codes. Martin Johnson.
Yeah, I think he's been England's best performer by a long way today. It's a sad way to see him go, but the way he's played today, I just admire the way he's played today, and obviously through his entire career.
I just think you saw a world champion who kept his standards up. Not everyone has. Robinson has played for it.
Easter off the base of that scrum. Matthew Tate has come on. He might go straight into action here. There is Matthew Tate. On the outside is Saki, but South Africa again have covered well. They do drift on that defence superbly. Well marshalled. Other sides watching will be very aware of that.
18.
Gummersall. It's direct again from Lucy, and Noon trying to drag him on. Lucy back on his feet. Has done well. Calling on this side is Matthew Tate for the crossfield kick. He's unmarked, but Cat, who might have kicked it, has taken the ball in. Farrell's the other option. Has Farrell seen him? Yes, he has. Farrell goes crossfield for Matthew Tate. Now South Africa try and get across, and they just have the numbers. And of course, one of those men is Fourie. Pienaar showing bravado there, but the touch judge has moved in with his flag out, so that normally hints at foul play. It's Carlo Damasco of Italy.
Take your injuries, that's very dangerous, take your injury.
Against the white player?
Against the green?
Yes, against the green.
On the 5 meters? Dangerous tackle in the air because the jumper don't catch the ball, don't want to play the ball.
John Smith, the classic captain hooker. I can't believe it. Taken out is the verdict. Looks as if Fourie actually hits the ball before he hits Tate.
Simon Shaw has had to change his top. He was off for a blood injury, and that should mean that
Which number? Which number?
Steve Borthwick is going back off. He is. England, because of that penalty, now have George Shooter to throw in. Just over a quarter of the match left.
Stay here, thank you.
So far removed from England's performance against South Africa in the last World Cup, and what that particular night meant. But can England get something here? You can hear what the England crowd want. All those people who've paid a lot of money to be watching this match tonight.
Stop play green, 18!
Gummersel. Oh dear. Mike Cat. What could he do there? Jason Robinson being consoled by his former club mate Mark Coeto, of course. Now Jason Robinson no longer of sale, ending rugby probably tonight. Mike Cat.
Mike Cat actually is fading away from that pass as well, and it's dipping a bit. It wasn't a great pass from Gummersel, he knows it, and again, you know, I reiterate the point, but it's a close range attacking position, and England really don't look as if they have an idea how to break them. You just would like to see one or two first phase moves, something to fix South Africa, because they're not asking questions of the box, and if you don't question a defence, the defence will happily block you all day.
Well, Habana's work was not done.
Oh, just blood.
So he's entitled to come back on. Just blood. Yeah, you can sniff it in the air, can't you? And Habana can. It's the kind of man that would, like all wingers, love to finish the tournament as the leading try scorer. Very aware of that kind of thing. Free kick England. Farrell. Gummersel just slipping that ball forward. Everything seems to be breaking down in the opposition 22. Shake of the head from Andy Farrell. But it's been like this for a long time now. Change in the South African front row. False start, no, you're allowed to come on now. CJ van der Linde replaces Os Durant.
Well, you say it's been like this for a long while. Are we talking today or are we talking 4 years? Because I tell you, this demise started almost the day after the World Cup. We gloried in it, we didn't do the work, we didn't make the changes, we've lost our shape. World Cup's not over, let's not forget that. It's a defeat against one of the strongest teams, but England have now reached the point they have to change the way they approach this tournament. They will lose this game, they are still in this cup. There's work to be done though.
So the approach, the mindset has to change, and England would do well to start here. In the final 19 minutes of this game, and Corrie tries to lead with that charge, but he got away from his support, and that means turnover ball. And here's replacement van der Linde. And South Africa might have a chance to move it wide here. Steyn has seen that, and Habana waits. Habana against Farrell. Farrell does well not to commit there, and he would have been relieved that Habana did not go out and out on the outside. Jaque Fourie looks nervously at that kick a little bit. I thought he got a bit too much on it. He didn't. He judged it perfectly. But South Africa, in general, hardly feeling the nerves now. Total domination for them tonight.
It's a very solid professional job. The pyrotechnics of Habana not happening there. Josh Lucy did well because he just blocked the outside path, and Farrell always had the strength on the inside. But Fourie Don't try and do anything too flashy, even though you're 26-0 up.
Numbers, please,
You're
numbers.
right, he slightly
Fine.
overcooked it, but it's that sort of night for the box at the moment.
Not straight again. And perhaps the most concerning comment of all tonight,
Ball, 50 meters.
from all of our experts, alongside here in the commentary box, Will down on the touchline, back in the studio with François and Martin, was François' point that South Africa haven't had to play that well to be in this position and to be this dominant.
Pause, engage.
No, they haven't, but I think their shape is excellent. They look ominous.
Steyn to Preez, going for that side where he saw the space, he saw another try-scoring opportunity. It is JP Pietersen again, and South Africa now turning into the bully boys as they need to be to make the statement that they want to. England are no longer on the ropes, they're on the canvas.
Well, England wanted to bully South Africa out of this game. They wanted to take them into scrum and line out. It didn't happen, but it's not just bullying from South Africa, it's great shape, and most of all, in France, they've got a Napoleon in the shape of Fourie de Preez. Gorgeous break down the blind side, in control. He's round shore, draw two men, the little flick pass to Pietersen. He put Pietersen in the first half, he's done it again. If he is not voted man of the match, then there is no rugby god in France. A wonderful performance.
Swig of refreshment for Percy Montgomery as he very comfortably lands another 2 points. And look at the space here. Preez away. Saki doesn't know which way to turn because he knew that JP Pietersen was waiting to score his 5th international try, 2 of which have come tonight.
Absolutely no press from England on the short side. They let him go 10 metres. That was poor. That was not poor from Matfield. That was a fine take. But England's defence there was really loose.
Off again, Preez flooding through. Options all over the place. Rossouw, one of them, goes for the boot. And Jamie Noon with Juan Smith there and Habana too. Delighted to see that ball go over the touchline. England long since stopped rocking and rolling. They're on the floor.
Oh, they are, and Preez is putting the boot in with a full array of skill. The scrum half looking great as England at least try and inject some pace with a quick line out there.
And you start to consider England's heaviest ever defeats in the Rugby World Cup, and we'll come on to that in a second, because it needs to be in the mind now. As it slows down again. Gummersall. As the South African band plays.
Might be a French band or two there. They'll be enjoying this after a horrifying night for the host Friday.
Well, here in 1999, England, if you remember, conceded 44 points. Those 5 drop goals from Yanni de Beer. They replied with 21. And against New Zealand in the semi-final in 95, General Honour and all that, 45-29 was the score. Tonight, as changes keep happening with Pienaar back and forth, Preez, what an excellent match he's had. Tonight, England have failed to score a point. The margin stands at 33.
Fourie de Preez has been the master of all he's surveyed. He's bossed the forwards, whereas Sean Perry and Andy Gommersall have scrabbled for the ball that they will give them. It's a big difference.
Crash, touch, pause, engage.
Pienaar to show off his versatility. Not quite yet. England to put in now. And as they do that, or prepare to do so, let's go to Will again.
I've had a chat with Jason Robinson. He's got a smile on his face. He's got cotton wool holding one eye together. He's spattered in blood. His shirt's covered in blood. He's got ice over his hamstring. He says he's never pulled a hamstring before in his career, so he doesn't know if he is. He thinks he's very young and he's got time on his side. Even now, the dry-witted Jason Robinson still managing to force a smile. It'd be a great shame if such a true rugby great were to limp out of the game this evening.
Indeed it would. I think they need to show a bit of Robinson's wit in their play now.
Well, England bloodied like Jason Robinson. Rather too bowed, though, unlike him today.
Easter and Moody, then Stevens, and now Corrie. That's good offloading from shooter to Kay, much better. Now can Ben Kay straighten? Yes, he can. Find Mike Catt. Andy Farrell. Suddenly the move in danger of coming to nothing. Saki puts it back. Farrell. As England once again resort to the boot. South Africa used the fair share of the boots as well, but they've used it so effectively, so cleverly.
Well, we thought before the game, if England kicked, they would have to kick high and press on Pietersen and Montgomery. They haven't. I mean, they've dropped out long, they've punted long. They're given Montgomery time, and along with Fourie, Preez and Butch James, the kicking game has been an utter mismatch there. We just haven't been very intelligent. That's what's really disappointing. Man for man, this is a strong South African team, but we haven't been sharp. Our game plan has been poor.
Warning there for Victor Matfield. Oh, a little dig coming in there. You might have spotted from CJ van der Linde. Gummersall shouting to his pack, encouraging them. But they're not going to shove it from there. They might get a penalty. They might get to the try line. Referee plays advantage. Farrell, Noon lost, but it was a penalty offence. So
17, please.
CJ van der Linde coming in from an offside position.
17.
That move was going nowhere, though. There were no decoy runners. Nobody fixing the South Africans. It was all very lateral. And I guess that's because England have decided going into this World Cup they're not going to play that way. But you can't just play one way. You might basically want to go via the forwards, but you have to have the change, the ability to switch. England did it in the last World Cup. They beat Australia up front, but it was Jason Robinson and one moment of inspiration by the backs that won it. This England team, when it can't grind and bluster its way forward, has nothing left. We got into this World Cup with blinkers. They've got to take them off now, because England will be in danger in Nantes against Samoa unless they find some creativity.
It's going to be England's heaviest defeat in the World Cup. In respect to the margin, not the total from South Africa. Well, it still might be. To see on that front. And now Bobby Skinstad, this remarkable return to international rugby is on. He's been out of the international game for 4 years. Recently having been playing with Richmond in England. And what they're thinking back in Richmond tonight. Not about Skinstad coming on, about the England performance in general.
He might have been in the sun in a year ago watching it with a beer in hand. It is an amazing comeback, isn't it?
Careful, stay on your feet.
Less of the might. He would have been.
Green ball.
Shape suggests he doesn't have too many there.
No, been a big drive and effort for the Super 14 to prove that he could play international rugby again. Bobby Skinstad, he proved his point and ended up being captain for South Africa in the Tri-Nations, one of the games down under. Now he's trying to make a tackle, but England have it with Farrell and Noon and Saki. Poor Saki, maybe he can light up proceedings for England.
Well, that ball was out the side of the scrum.
Farrell again. England coming this way with Matt Stevens. That's a lovely ball off to Josh Lucy. Josh Lucy's got an awful lot of work to do, though. He's up against at least 3 Springbok defenders. And not even Lucy He wants to have a go at brick walls, could knock that one down. But England need to go round a few brick walls, don't they? In on the outside, not just through. Corrie's going for the bricks and mortar again. Shaw is the man with no number. That was good from him. It just helped, gave it a nudge. Farrell. At least England trying to finish on a high here. Something to take into that crucially important Samoan game now, but it's once again a turnover, and this will be an awful long way back. At least it's a fairly fresh man in Matthew Tate who needs to do the running, and he gets there. Where's Wikus van Heerden going? Oh, he's trying to locate Danie Rossouw and François Steyn.
Green.
And it's a knock-on by South Africa.
I don't think François Steyn will thank Wikus van Heerden for that one. The number 6 looks on. Of course, when South Africa go further in this tournament, Berger will return. They'll be a lot stronger. Danie Rossouw flicked that one on. It's earnest, it's honourable, but it's going nowhere. As you see, Martin Corrie turned over by the 20-year-old centre, François Steyn.
Just on these replacements, just to fully mark your card, as you can see the men that have been removed. The latest trio on the field, Skinstad, Pretorius is on 2, Andre Pretorius and Bismarck du Plessis. You can see the man he's replaced, John Smith at hooker. Joan Smith is off, Butch James is off. It was a very strong South African squad. When you run through those names, and it's so important in the World Cup, if you're going to go all the way, it's not just about the 15 that start, it's the 15 that finish, with injuries inevitable along the way, and also the 7 on the bench.
Well, they've already lost Jean de Villiers, but it looks like Steyn is going to prove the answer there.
That might actually prove to be a blessing in disguise. But anyway, here are England, and here's a chance possibly for Tate. And Lucy's going to be frustrated again because his hand was up waiting for the ball to come to him, but it never came. Shooter, some nice little touches from him since he's come on. The Leicester hooker. Sheridan fired by the lack of dignity on the scoreboard for England. Shooter again. Getting a bit of territory. Saki in danger of being accidentally offside there. That was the South African appeal.
Stay back, Green.
He's on the side.
BJ Botha in danger of being offside there. England thought they should have got it, and they do.
It's probably England's most concerted period of pressure, isn't it? And Gomersall quick.
And Corrie, in his yeoman way, takes it forward again. Cat. Now do England have the hands? Farrell nearly through the tackle. No. Montgomery again. Every attack, every flicker is being snuffed out.
Andy Farrell needed to be a lot straighter when he took that ball there. He was fading out. That's why he couldn't fix his man. You see the fade there, he looks inside, and then at the last minute, he in vain tries to get the ball away. But if he's running a straighter angle, oh yes, I understand your angst. England have got a chance of fixing the South African defence. We weren't doing it. The first 2 steps, very rugby league away, and I'm afraid in Union, you don't have any time to react. You've got to get your first pace right. England's midfield, the first step has been wrong. Bryan Ashton, he has a sleepless week ahead in front of Samoa.
Venant Olivier is coming on. Cap number 18 for him. Man who played in all South Africa's tests in 2006. He's fallen out of the picture because the likes of François Steyn have come along. Steyn has done well, and he might be the solution. Extra kicking option as well with a big boot on him. Olivier, you give me your assessment.
A solid defensive player, but a year ago South Africa were going for the solid defensive player. Now obviously Steyn is only 20, so he's matured in that time, but the fact they went for him suggested that they are positive. The fact England made Martin Corrie captain rather than say Mike Cat, and sent a message that it was forward play, suggested that we were not.
Easter and Rossouw having a go back at him, but Nick Easter is strong. He impressed South Africa on England's ill-fated tour in the summer. They felt he was one of England's bright spots, and Jake White was rather surprised that he didn't play against the United States. We saw him up close tonight, as players did. And there's nothing Nick Easter has been able to do. In at the side goes Wikus van Heerden. That's as clear as night follows day, that penalty. That could well have been a yellow card, but I don't think the referee's going to bother now. Looking at the scoreboard. Sheridan again. Noon with Skinstad hanging on. Montgomery and Josh Lucy will be feeling it in those legs now. As England players have had to get through a lot of tackling, and Lucy really had no choice in the end, because the chase from South Africa, another feature of their game. Okay, they haven't had to play at their optimum, but as you were saying, Stuart, there's been lots to enthuse about from a Springbok perspective. And another England injury here.
Yeah, Jamie Noon
down.
England looked battered. South Africa, what was distressing from an English perspective, their bench looked so relaxed, like they'd had a stroll. And I think you'd say Josh Lucy had no option, but he didn't go back with urgency. He's gone back like a man who said enough. That was a white towel kick to touch, I'm afraid.
19 onside. Okay.
Tired mentally, tired physically. Perry Freshwater now on for England. There he is, number 17. England's reserve prop. Borthwick back on as well.
Don't play wide, don't play wide!
And England about to be put out of their misery, but how South Africa would just love one more to really rub it in.
The turnover count is incredible.
So is the overlap here. Oh, Saki's put a hand in. Was that deliberate? If it was, and it did seem that way, it's a penalty. You can almost make a case, even from that far out, that's a penalty try.
Oh, a yellow
try
card
would probably have been scored. Jamie Noon, meanwhile, is being put on a stretcher, so England get more bad news on the injury front. It goes from bad to worse.
Well, I don't know, that's hard. I don't think Saki's trying to knock that out, but isn't this interesting? Brutal from South Africa, 33-0 up. There's no attempt to go for 40. Let's just take another 3 points, 36-0. For South Africa, this game, unfortunately, from a Northern Hemisphere perspective, has been just a stepping stone. The world champions have been walked over as the Boks move towards the quarterfinals. England now, they don't have the players to beat South Africa, but they have to be better than they are in terms of their shape. 36-0 is a humiliation. It is a sporting disaster for the world champions, and Nod looms very large now for England. Samoa will be a challenge.
South Africa aren't really bothered about bonus points tonight. They're just bothered about making sure that England get nothing. And how do England recover from this? Well, they simply have to try and do that against Samoa. Otherwise, it could be the height of embarrassment for the world champions, failing to get out of their pool. Peter Richards is the replacement for Jamie Noon, and we hope that injury is not a bad one for the Newcastle Falcon, but it didn't look good. It didn't look good for Robinson either. England will have to readjust, but they were going to have to do that anyway. If it wasn't going to be in personnel, it was certainly going to be in the way they approach the rest of this competition. It's a wide smile now for Jake White.
Personnel need changing, so does their approach to the game. I think there are question marks about Matthew Tate, but they need to start with him now to find out what he can do, and they need to move this ball about. England need to find something to be proud of and not just worry about stopping opponents.
Knock on, 19 knock on.
England calling for a big scrum to end, but they won't get that chance. South Africa have thumped England out of sight in Paris, and they win for the 4th time in a row against England, and there are some boos echoing around the Stade de France. But this was the one that South Africa wanted. This is the only one that they've been thinking about. 36-0. And Jim, the world champion's crown has been slipping for some time now. But tonight it's on the floor, it's in the dust, and England need to pick it up very quickly before somebody finally takes it away for good.
Absolutely right. Thank you to Miles Harrison and to Stuart Barnes. Overwhelming points victory for those Boks. England's biggest spanking in Rugby World Cup history. England are down, but they are not out, and Samoa in Nantes tomorrow week becomes a straight knockout.